Okay, class, our final exam will be coming up at the end of this week. The test will be comprised of 20% written, 30% oral, and 50% anal. Any questions?
Professor,
Yes, dear.
will there be any extra credit?
I am so glad you asked.
Pornography has many questions surrounding it, so let's start with the basics. What is it? Merriam-Webster defines pornography in 3 different ways. 1. The depiction of erotic behavior, as in pictures or writing, intended to cause sexual excitement. 2. Material, as books or a photograph, that depicts erotic behavior and is intended to cause sexual excitement. And 3. The depiction of acts in a sensational manner as to arouse a quick, intense emotional reaction. An example of this third definition could be what some refer to as the pornography of violence. Dictionary.com defines pornography as obscene writings, drawings, photographs, or the like, especially those having little or no artistic merit. Wikipedia.org has an entire article devoted to information regarding porn. Here is the definition in that article. Pornography, often abbreviated as porn in informal usage, is the explicit portrayal of sexual subject matter. Pornography may use a variety of media, including books, magazines, postcards, photos, sculpture, drawing, painting, animation, sound recording, film, video, and video games. This is a huge range in subject matter, and backs up the position that porn is in fact everywhere. And after searching the vast expanses of the internet, we have come to a conclusion. We're still pretty fuzzy on what porn is. However, we do know that if it has sex in it, it's porn, right? By these definitions, anything depicting erotic behavior is considered pornographic. Based off of this conclusion, we can safely say that almost all R-rated films in America contain pornography, and that a majority of PG-13 rated films contain pornographic elements. Now that we've defined pornography, let's find out what people think about it, especially porn in the film industry. What do you think about sex in films?
I think it doesn't bother me.
Don't mind it. Okay. I mean, it doesn't bug me as long as I keep the ratings out there.
I'm fine with it as long as the plot and the dialogue and the characters drive the sex, and it's not the other way around. I think that it needs to be embedded in the story and necessary and organic to what's happening. If it's not, I don't have any patience for it at all.
I think it's over-sensationalized. It's not really important one way or another.
It's not appropriate.
Why do you think that?
Because of my religious beliefs.
What do I think about it? I think it's awkward if you are watching it with your parents and you're like, oh, let's have the scene pass, this is pretty awkward. If you're watching with your friends, you're like, oh, that's really funny, oh, that's kind of funny. So it just kind of depends on who you're watching it with.
I think it's a giant industry for films, a huge part of it.
Sometimes it can be artistic, but I don't know. Sometimes it's obscene, and I guess that's against laws and stuff like that. But it's up to what people determine it to be.
I gotcha!
So people have mixed feelings regarding pornography. No big surprise there. But what do they think about its future? Do you think it's ever going to go away?
Nope. No, not as long as there's human beings on the planet, no. Human beings are basically bonobos, and we will always be sexually interested, and I think it's probably here to stay.
No, definitely not. I'm sure that people will find ways around it, even though it might be illegal, but it's not going to end because it's just a part of our society.
I think it's only going to get worse just because people are starting to get more conscious with it.
No.
Why?
Because it's a part of eventually almost everyone in the world's life, or like all living things almost. Besides like plants and plants, obviously.
Do you think
it will ever go away?
No, because it sells movies. Why would they ever get rid of it? They just keep adding more of it.
Well, if it's as big of an industry as it is like right now, I highly doubt it.
No, I don't think it will ever go away. Sex in like media and stuff is kind of like a big seller, and so you have like bread that you're trying to sell. So if you have a sexy girl on the side, then the bread's gonna sell better. Like a lot of things that are going that way seem to be kind of progressing in like sexual advertisement, and so sex in film just seems to be like a really big attention getter, and so I think it will just escalate. I don't think it will ever go away.
I think too many people rely on it, and I think it's too common. Like on Scrubs, like I said, if they did indeed take porn off the internet, there'd only be one website left, and be bring back the porn.
Now we know that people expect porn to stick around for a long time. How did it progress to where it is today?
Why do you think there's more sex in film now than 20 years ago?
I think there's more sex in film now because, like I said, it's been escalating. People have found that, oh, if the sex appeal is going to sell things, then let's put it in movies, and hopefully it will, extend the life of our movie, or it will extend, the viewership of our movie, and we'll get more people to view it and laugh at it, or rate it, or we'll have more comments on it over the internet.
I think because people like that stuff, pretty perverted, I guess. I don't know, but I guess it's just radiance. People will watch it, so make money off it.
Well, I'd imagine if it's increasing in films as opposed to before, it's because either regulations for ratings for films have been going down, like they can get away with more, so they just add more, or because the films in the past that did have more got better ratings or got, I guess, made more money. Because there's a demand for it, like there wouldn't be such a big business if people didn't watch it, so...
Why do you think there's more sex in film now than 20 years ago?
Because the standards have changed a lot. People are a lot less offended by sex. They'll put as much sex in the movie as they can because they'll sell the movie.
I think that because it's being seen as more acceptable to show, and I feel like people, it's not as big a part of their morals as it used to be.
I think what the social norms were, it was just not okay back then.
I don't know, I think that they found it, like, more entertaining. So, like, if someone, especially, like, a younger boy was like, oh, there's sex in that movie, I'm gonna go watch that one. Other than, like, just other stuff happening, it's just entertainment.
I think culturally we are advancing to a point where sex and sexuality is not as frightening or as taboo as it used to be. I think that the feminist movement and the civil rights movement with LGBTQ, it really helps push that forward. And to be honest, I think that showing more depictions of sex, even when they're problematic, shows that we're trying to gain some sort of a cultural healthy attitude about sex because we're exploring it. We're being a little fearless with it. I think films like Short Bus really push the envelope. Maybe at this point push it a little further than people are comfortable with, but if we don't have art like that, if we don't have the Mapplethorpes and the Short Bus films, we're never going to advance and really understand that sexuality is just an organic part of being a human being.
Sex and porn rose through a variety of techniques, including media and advertising companies increasing the amount of sexual items into their content. But is this content and pornography art? And do you think pornography has any artistic value?
I think it's more... I think it used to be art when it was paintings back in the day when they saw beauty in the human body. I think it's to the point now where people don't really watch it for the art. Catch my drift.
Yes, I do.
No, not really. I think porn serves one purpose, and that's not to use people's artistic side.
Not really.
To an extent, done right. Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're talking Short Bus, again, I'm harping on Short Bus. Yes, I think it does. If you're talking Debbie Does Dallas, I don't know about the artistic merits of that. But, you know, you go back to the classic porn film Deep Throat, actually did make an attempt at having a script, was funny in places, and did have a sense of humor about itself. So I think in that sense, that film stands alone in traditional pornography, if there is such a thing. But I think that Short Bus definitely has some artistic value. I go back and think of that beautiful scene in that film where they're talking to the man that was the mayor of New York when people were accusing him of not doing enough to help with the AIDS crisis, and that beautiful monologue that he had where it really did concern him. But the time period and the cultural insensibilities to what was going on tied his hands, and there was only so much he could do. And I think moments like that in a film elevate it to more than just titillation. I think it was an artistic moment.
Personally, no, but I know that people do think it's artistic, but personally I don't think it's artistic. It's more of just entertainment, and people are paying for that, so I don't think it's really artistic at all.
I don't. And that's like purely from like, I'm a woman and like, I do not watch it, and like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my boyfriend might have brought up some clips and be like, oh, here's porn. I've been like, no. Like, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything that's artistic.
I personally, like in most movies or stuff, or just when there's material like that, I think that most cases it can go without, but I don't know, I guess maybe a little bit.
We are still unclear on what is exactly considered porn, but we have learned that people have widely varying views on the subject. Some are in favor, some are opposed, and some are right in the middle. One thing's certain, porn isn't going anywhere.
It's not appropriate.
People have found that, oh, if the sex appeal is going to sell things, then let's put it in movies, and hopefully it will, you know, extend the life of our movie, or it will extend, you know, the viewership of our movie.
Someone has to create it, though.
Yeah, but they don't really have to do that much work.
Someone has to decide what angles to film them from.
That's a little bit less about art.
There's a demand for it, like there wouldn't be such a big business if people didn't watch it, so.
I think it's only going to get worse just because people are starting to get conscious with it.
It's not going to end because it's just a part of our society.
I think that showing more depictions of sex, even when they're problematic, shows that we're trying to gain some sort of a cultural healthy attitude about sex because we're exploring it. We're being a little fearless with it. I think films like Short Bus really push the envelope. Maybe at this point push it a little further than people are comfortable with, but if we don't have art like that, if we don't have the Mapplethorpes and the Short Bus films, we're never going to advance and really understand that sexuality is just an organic part of being a human being.
But it's not like sex is a new thing. It's been around for goddamn forever. So, I don't know, it doesn't really bother me. And then I think it's always going to be there, so that's why it doesn't bother me either.
Screwing in moderation, screwing is such a bore.